FRANCESFOX. I'm a trained psychic spy, trained in interspecies communication. I have all of the psychic abilities trained. I lived in Tibet for a year when I was a child. Part of my training was to be in a cave by myself, which is really an incredible experience, which I do not highly recommend. Um, and because of all my training, I am totally open and very knowledgeable about the other dimensions, which have always existed. And I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to go today in terms of this chat, but I am going to say that increasingly, if you are not aware of, savvy about, and in control of the other dimensional influences, it's going to be very, very difficult to remain at the level of success you have, simply because there is such a lack of order in the other dimensions. And for you to do business, there has to be some kind of continuity and order. In order to maintain that order, you need to manage where everything starts, which is in the other dimensions. So the first thing I'm going to say, and I'm just going to do what I'm usually doing very spontaneously, I will say that I'm not allowed to have guests, and we're not allowed to have a lot of people see our posts because the Cuban mafia is still threatening my family and my children, violently threatening. So I can continue to mosey along like I'm doing here, but I can't lift my head too high because they'll cut it off. And for that reason, I don't really even try to invite people because I don't want them to be subjected to what these people, this group, the Cuban mafia, are experts at, which is black magic. So you're getting hit at the back of the knees and you don't even know it. You can listen to my stuff and nothing will happen to you. But for now, we have to keep a low profile and let's see if something happens to where they either all die out, which I can't wait for because I'm not that young and I got a lot to share, or something happens that they get so scared that they back off. So that's why you're not seeing me with guests and the normal setup that other people would have. So I'm just going to go and give you pieces of information that if you're aware of, you are going to expand and widen your lens, which means you're going to be more powerful. Now, what are the kind of people that use this kind of information? From my observations since I was a child, the kind of people that use this information are very powerful people, or people lower echelon economically and need to survive. When you need to survive, one of the ways you survive is by becoming very savvy about the other dimensions. And one of those things that you learn, too many people, is the whole thing with black magic. But it's not just the people that need to survive. It's the people that know a lot about the other dimensions that can get into that. This is not about black magic, even though that is an incredible aspect of it. And even though that is used, practiced, and is part of the business toolbox with very large companies, such as mining, such as petroleum. And you are not going to see it in mainline news because the people that write for mainline news don't really know anything about this because they're very elegant. They're very good New Agers. And so here I'm going to issue a complaint. When in the 90s, I was kind of granted permission to talk, to remember, and I started going to all sorts of therapists, including the one I ended up with, Dr. Colin Ross, which specialized in cult victims and also victims of military mind control. And my main therapists, which is psychiatrists, they were all psychologists, except for Dr. Colin Ross, who was a psychiatrist. Anyway, the psychologists I ended up with specialized in people that were victims of torture or political prisoners. That's the kind of background I had. So when I started all of this, I was very excited that I was going to be able to tell nice people the stuff that I had been through and that I was still going through, because the Cuban mafia was extremely active then also. in terms of having me by the throat. That was 90s. And I thought that nice people would really step up to bat. No, 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 no. In this particular country, nice people who are into spiritual stuff, who believe in this stuff, are very new age. And I found out very quickly that was not good for me. The new age movement in this country is a setback to spiritual development, in my opinion, the way I have seen it, and it's been 30 or 40 years. It's a setback in the sense that the people are too nice. They think that love fixes everything. Well, it doesn't. First place, some things are supposed to be broken because that is the process through which something good is going to be achieved. A New Ager does not allow that. The issue of guilt, the issue of doing something negative, is handled very poorly in the New Age movement. Very, very poorly. It's a total denial, or that is classified as not good people. Good people don't do that. That's not true. That's not true. They're very unrealistic, and they are in a planet of duality, but they only want to see the light. So when I became a public person and I did business from day one with my skills, I was not their favorite person, and I have to say I went into a state of shock because I had expected nice people to be very supportive of me. Now, a lot of them didn't even believe me, which means that their instincts and their psychic abilities were very poor. Because I'm not lying. So if they didn't believe me, they were not good New Agers or metaphysicians or whatever it is that they were contending they were. Because if you have good instincts and you're relatively good intuitive, you can kind of tell when somebody's lying or not. And the ones who did believe me, oh, gee, Frances, oh my God. But don't talk to me about spirits. Frances, what's the matter with my liver? Well, you have a spirit. No, 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 no. That's not what I'm looking for, Frances. I want to know what's going on with my liver. And I want to tell you that you have a spirit there that came in because of, no, 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 no. Give it to me, but I don't want to hear that negativity. Well, the only reason you have a problem with your liver is because there's something negative. Okay, but that's regular people. Let's go back to the business thing. I live here in Coral Gables, Florida. I actually was president of the major street here for a year. I had a business, which is still here for 50 some years. I built a 3-story building. I was very proud of the elevator. It was just a regular elevator, but I had never thought I would ever own an elevator. That was kind of interesting. But when I was remodeling, I decided I would put the swastika symbol, but with the movement counterclockwise where the reception desk was, and a couple of other places. I don't remember where it was. We put it underneath the rug, and I think the design had little flowers on it, whatever. Somebody had designed it, but it was a swastika. I mean, there's no question. Okay. Years and years and years later, somebody told me that the people at City Hall thought that I was a Nazi. Okay. And then I remembered that somebody, when I sold the building, pulled up those rugs. And that somebody is doing American business and saw the swastika. I'm sure that that's where that came from, and decided I was a Nazi. Okay, that's because their lens is this size. What is it about the swastika? Swastika comes 2 different designs. One of them, the arms move counterclockwise, which is the way the root chakra moves. And the other one moves clockwise, which is the chakra of the crown, which is the one with faith, connection to God. I don't remember which ones the Nazis decided to use. That symbol is thousands of years old, and the Nazis existed in the 30s and 40s. They obviously had a plan that they wanted that particular movement, and what their thought process was, I actually never looked into. But I remember the first time I put it on the floor, I was working with, I had a friend who was a beautician, and he would be exhausted. exhausted at his work. And I said, why don't you have somebody sketch on the floor the swastika moving counterclockwise, which stimulates the root chakra, which is where you get a lot of your tiredness and what needs to be moving in terms of business and the whole 9 yards. So they actually tore up the whole floor and built that underneath his station where he did hair. That really wasn't my intention, but they did it and they were very proud of it and it was very good. And I don't know how many people saw that it was a swastika and what kind of comments made, because you can do it with little flowers. It doesn't have to be just the sticks. My point is, I guess, that I am on X Twitter, X. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on in terms of paranoia having to do with ancient symbols. Now, how important is it to me that the city and Coral Gables think that I'm a Nazi? Well, I'm an independent business owner. I have so many other things that are so much more dramatic and awful than that. But that certainly is a trigger for everybody. Oh my God, a Nazi. Well, if that's their evidence, then it shows how limited they are in their scholastic work and in terms of history of the planet. And maybe that's one of the problems in the United States, that they view everything from the point of view of the United States, which is only, what are we, 300 years old? I don't really know how many, because good psychics are not really good with numbers or timing, okay? We're several hundred years old, but the planet is millions of years old. But let's go to the 2,000 or 3,000 years old. And the stuff from then is valid today. The philosophers that we honor are from then. So these symbols that has everybody all riled up when they come. No, because look at what these do, and the Freemasons and the whatever. Well, you know something, I could see why these groups would be secret. Because when I came out publicly about being in a mind control program, people just got a little bit crazy with their reactions to it. It just wasn't comfortable for them. Well, we really need to get comfortable. We need to get comfortable with things that we don't have experience with. And what we're going to find and we're going to see now is that the whole thing with the aliens and the ETs is totally, it's not just pulling us out of our comfort zone. We're not getting out of our comfort zone. We are from that little box. And I'm looking at what's on the news in this country, okay? From this little box, based on 300 years of experience and history, and we're looking at stuff that's thousands of years old, and it's not working. You can't get from there to there from here. You have to have a wider lens. And if you do, then you see that those ETs were in the Bible, and that burning bush was not a burning bush at all. And those figures from Peru track things, and you will find that that whole storyline of those aren't real doesn't really hold up. But let's go back to the symbols. The American dollar has, and I will put it on for just a second again. There we go. The American dollar has an eye at the top of a triangle with the point facing up. Okay, no problem. What does that mean? Well, in terms of the human assemblage of bodies, that triangle at the deepest level in Tibetan knowledge represents the 3 lower energy centers: the root, which is business, finance, money, having a place to live, food, eat; the second, which is creativity and sex; and the third, which would be at the top of that point, is the solar plexus, which is the source of personal power for all human beings. So I'm going to put this graphic up. Okay, you see the chakras, gold funnel, causal body, and then the chakras. So that triangle on the American dollar is composed of the red root chakra, the orange sacral chakra, and the yellow solar plexus chakra. And the point of that triangle would be at the top of the solar plexus chakra, which is the area that channels your personal power. Would be really important to have a lot of personal power in every instance, but particularly if you have a business. So what's with that eye? Why are people so afraid of that eye? That is like the third eye that they talk about. And we have an energy center here, which is called the third eye, the Anja chakra. Okay, so where do we go from here? You notice that Jesus Christ, when he was walking with his cross, he had a crown of thorns around his third eye, letting us know that the third eye is a little bit problematic and that you can get hurt if you try to go there. And you can say, where'd you get that from? Just keep listening. You don't have to put any money towards what I'm saying, just listening. So, third eye represents the all-seeing eye, wisdom. So the American dollar basically is saying, now, your life on the physical dimension, your house, your bank account, your money, your food, your car, all of that is channeled in the lower three chakras, which are represented by that triangle with the point at the top. Oh, okay. We're talking about the dollar, business, money. And then there's an all-seeing eye at the top, which channels solar plexus, personal power. It's also called the garbage can of emotions. So what they're saying is these conspiracy people who did this, what are they? The Illuminati, the Masons, what was the other group? I don't remember. They put this on the dollar, and this is probably something really secret. No, it's not secret. They're trying to get all-seeing wisdom, all-seeing eye into the energy centers that have to do with money and business. Well, you know something, that is not a bad thing. They want for this capability to be where your personal power is. And they probably didn't know what I know today, and it's accurate. Human superpowers are in the third eye. Or maybe they did know that. And I don't know that they know that. Which means that they want superpowers in your solar plexus, which channels your personal power. Well, how is that bad? It's not bad. Got it? The fact that you feel left out, the fact that you don't understand it, just means that you need to educate yourself. Because where you went to school, they didn't honor these things. They honored Socrates and Plato, and then they went, Plato is fabulous, but that book, Timaeus, which he never finished, about Atlantis, that's garbage. Well, he's great, and then he's garbage? No. But you want this because you're comfortable with it, but you don't want this because you don't have a place to put it because your lens is too small. Okay, so now we are in Revelations. The whole ET thing, nobody can keep blocking that. There's an expression in Spanish, you cannot cover the sun with your thumb. You're there, you're outside, you put your thumb up and you can't see the sun. You didn't cover the sun, you covered it for yourself. You're not going to be able to continue to do business and to flourish and all the rest of that if your lens is this wide. You must go like this. And I think that everything with symbols might be an interesting place for you to start, to learn. What other symbols are there? Right now, it's not coming to me what other symbol I could decipher for you. But that all-seeing eye, everybody, the New Agers, everybody is like, they want to develop this, but they don't want to see it on their money. Well, wisdom and all-seeing, I think I want that in my business. I want that in my business. And I think you do too. But we are so paranoid and so prone to not trusting something we don't have a total grip on that basically we have blocked ourselves from taking advantage of ancient wisdom. Switching subjects very quickly. Astrology and business. Many years ago, I think I took a course, and the person had written this incredibly professional Ivy League type book that was this thick. So I was going to say plow through it. No, I was trying to go through it. Basically, what the person was saying, and he was very well known. This was years ago. I don't remember his name. He was saying that you needed to have a balanced management team. Well, I think we would all say, yes, we should all have a balanced management team. What does that mean if you widen your lens? One of the things it means is you cannot do what I did for many years. I would only hire people that I felt good with. I'm a Cancer. We're like slow, and we keep going over things and we repeat, and it's all the emotions and big susceptibility to depression, and family is the most important thing, and I hired people like me. Business, how about the money part? How about the planning part? How about the rooting part? Well, I didn't know at that point. The biggest thing I learned the first 20 years of doing business was when somebody invited me out to lunch, and I said, I can't make it, I'm busy. He said, the last 10 times I've invited you, you have too much work. And he said to me, listen, you're never going to make any money because you think that you have to make money off of you. And until you learn to have employees and have them work for you and make money for you, you're not going to make any money. And you're also not going to be able to go out to lunch. That's stuck. At that time, I didn't know about having a balanced team. It was just me and my mother for several years with my husband on the sidelines. So what does that mean? Or what is it that I can quickly teach you? Every astrological sign has an element that is associated with it. And that's the thing that you can balance the easiest. So you get a piece of paper and you fold it in 4. One quadrant will be earth signs, one quadrant water signs, one quadrant fire signs, and one quadrant air signs. I should have had a map done, but I wasn't sure exactly where I was going with today's chat. So I would be in the quadrant with water, emotions, movement, going over and over and over things. Okay. Earth sign. So what is water? Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer. So that's the kind of people I wanted around because I felt good with them. We could sit there and moan all day long together and feel bad about stuff and not get over guilt and not want to fire people. Oh my God, how are they going to feel? Whatever. So go to the earth signs. You have the Tauruses and you have the Virgos and the Taurus, Virgo, and there's one more. I forget what it is. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. So those earth signs are very stabilizing. So I do well with earth signs. They stabilize me. They stabilize my business. They want things. It's earth. It's grounded. It's not water that flows. It's grounded. I didn't know that then. So then let's go to the fire signs. Aries, Sagittarius. I don't remember the third one. It'll come in a minute. When it doesn't need to come, that's when it will come. So you have 3 astrological signs that are fire. Fire is movement. Let's get this done. A water sign needs that. But water puts out fire. So if you are a water sign, you have a big team that's all water, You got a fire sign coming in. This team is going to go like this and wipe this fire person out. Yet you need that fire person. You need movement. You don't just need to recycle. We, Cancers, water signs, we recycle endlessly. It's boring. Comes with the territory. So then you have the air signs. Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. They're the thinkers. They also have a lot of movement. They want things to be not too organized. They want new stuff. They can't tolerate repeat. Water signs, repeat is good. Air signs, repeat. I'm out of here. I can't take it. I'm bored. So if you have somebody really valuable who's an air sign and you're a water sign, be interesting to see the woman who's handling advertising in X. Elon, I believe, is a water sign. And you can see that with his family, whatever. Linda, what is her sign? I suspect she's a movement sign. Going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because it will play out, but it's not necessarily bad. I wish that I had known this when I set up my business. It would have been much more profitable. I am a creative. Creativity is disorder. One time my master said to me, not one more single new project or new experiment or new thing. That's it. Now you go from circle, you go to square, which would be earth. No more new. I'm a creative, whatever. So for me to have earth sign is good, because what they do is they go, we can't do 10 projects at a time. We can do 10 projects, but not at the same time. Well, no, they're all important. I know, but we don't have the staff to do 10 projects all at the same time. And you don't have the time to supervise 10 important projects at a time. So let's go with 3. That's what an earth sign would do. And let's do it well. Okay, did you hire the people? No, like I have somebody right now. Did you hire the people? I need to have a job description to hire the person. Well, just go ahead and start interviewing and hire them. And no, I need a job description. I need to tell them what I'm hiring them for. I don't want to hear that, but I need to hear that. And I'm only going to hear that from another element or another sign. Astrology and your team. Now, countries have an astrological sign. I do extremely well with people from Colombia, but not in business. Colombia is a Cancer country. They're all about family and food. Family, and food, and sitting together and chatting over food with the family, about the family, and very close friends. And if you're going to hire somebody, it has to be a family member or somebody that is almost like a family member, the ex-brother-in-law, the cousin of my aunt, family. Okay? So I get along very well with them. But they're Cancer in business too. I can't deal with it. It's very interesting because a lot of the Colombians that I have met, their wealth, the ones that are wealthy, have been very tied to the land, earth, mother. Colombia is totally green. It's unbelievable. They're comfortable with that. Water, which would be Cancer, does really well with earth. You put the two together and you're able to build. With clay, you're able to build something. So this information about your work team is really important, because when there's a crisis, excuse me, my phone is not near me, but it is on. You want balance. You want a different perspective. You cannot see everything just from one point of view. view, which is yours, or your team, which is also looking at the world through a filter of their astrological sign and their element. In terms of your team, you need to read up on the elements. It's very interesting that, and I'm going to end with that, and maybe you won't even understand what I'm saying. But I picked up a book by Madame Blavatsky, and I usually cannot tolerate reading her. She's very slow. She may even be a relative of mine. That's what I've been told by the military. But it doesn't matter. She's very slow. So I picked up a book of hers, really thin, that was by my bed. And it was fascinating because she was saying that people don't really understand the elements and the fact that they are an energy. And then they get represented by certain things, such as figures like Poseidon with the water, etc. And it reminded me, I have a book and I don't remember the name, and you're not going to find it anyway, and you're not going to like it. But it's a book about the elements and Christianity. And I read that book and I don't understand what it says. But I know that book is like really important. And I usually have it by my bed. And I'll read one sentence, and I do not understand it. But who doesn't understand it? My personality doesn't understand it. My Anglo, whatever personality. But there's a part of me that does. The whole issue of the elements and how it is the food for creation of reality is so important. And we don't have enough information about it at all. And those elements are the basis for feng shui. And if you can handle your business property correctly or choose wisely, and then construct wisely or put the people in their proper places in terms of inside the building or the property, it makes a huge difference. And if you look at when you incorporate a company, it's a birth. Do you want a Virgo business? Well, I think if you're going to have a dance studio, you don't want a Virgo birth date of your company when you incorporate it, because Virgo is not movement, it's structured, and structure that you know, it's already there. It's not a creative structure. And dance, you want movement. So to open a dance studio and incorporate the company that opens a dance studio on a Virgo date is not a good idea. I'm just remembering during the dark times in Colombia, when they used to kidnap people for 3 months, 6 months, a year or two, I always remembered thinking, those kidnappers are kind of like really nice. You didn't hear of anybody getting sexually abused. You didn't hear these tortures and atrocities. The atrocity was that they took the person from their family and held them against their will. Here, something happens and somebody knifes you. It's a different energy. And in the United States, by the way, we are also a Cancer country. 4th of July, Independence Day. But we have another issue, which is a feng shui issue, which is that our government is centered in a swamp. People talk about the political swamp all the time, but the land that Washington, D.C. is on is literally a swamp. So what's so bad about that? Well, the water pH is not good. Okay, but nobody's drinking that water. No. The water is not good because swamps is where Mother Earth puts spirits that have not gone to the light, and she puts them there while they're in their process. Okay, so Francis, come on, how can you say that? Well, okay, name 2 places in movies where there's spirits that are kind of dangerous and that you really don't want to be with. Cemeteries. What's the second place? Swamps. No. cemeteries and swamps. So basically, we have the government of this country, which is Cancer, which is an emotional sign. Home, 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 family in a swamp. Lots of emotions, lots of depression. How many people in this country are medication for depression? Too many. Too many. So I'm throwing a lot of things out to you at the same time. But today is the day that finally my book creation, I'm not actually sure that it's going to be up and out on Amazon because Amazon has their own process. But let me see if I can find it. And today is the day that, give me a second, and I will give you the link. Well, it's not up there. So you're, oh yes, it is. Okay, so here is the link to the book. And why am I recommending it? Not because you're in business. It's in English. We will now start to translate it now that, and it still has issues. There's still some grammatical, there's a chapter, the chapter on feng shui was so invaded by spirits. That's how come I know it's so important. The spirits would not quit. I have no idea what's in that chapter. Total chaos, but it's there. I was not going to allow the spirits to win and hold back the entire book just because they had control over a chapter. So when you look at that chapter and you go, oh, but this is missing something. Oh, this is interesting. Where's the rest of it? The spirits won on edition 1. We're going into edition 2 and you'll be able to get it. Okay. That book will tell you about the human energy system, your energy bodies. It'll be a backdrop that you can use to expand your lens. And there's enough references to the Lord's Prayer, shamanism, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, all that stuff, that it's not like it's coming out of left field and who's going to believe this person. Let's start with the fact that the people that trained me, I had to be very good at what I did because it was dangerous not to be really good at it. I'm a Cancer, so guess what they would do? Threaten the little kids that I loved or the pets that I loved. Because the bad guys know all about what you could call unseen factors, which is basically, sorry, what's going on in the other dimensions, which is where reality is created. You need to know more about that. So you start with the dollar bill and you look at it and you go, that triangle. So let's go back to the triangle a second and wrap this up with that dollar bill. Let me put it on here again. So you have the dollar bill, you have the all-seeing eye at the top. What is the matter with the all-seeing eye? Why is everybody thinking this is a conspiracy? The only conspiracy is that you have not been educated on this. That's your problem. You're not educated. And so you don't trust. Okay, get educated. But that triangle is one half. There's another triangle with the apex pointed down, which are the top 3 energy centers: throat, third eye, crown. The heart chakra, when you put the 2 triangles together, apex up, apex down, and you center it in the heart center, you have the Star of David. That's a Jewish symbol. No, it's not a Jewish symbol. Judaism uses the symbol. It's a symbol of harmony, of centeredness. And if you can achieve that configuration in your energy centers, you're doing really well. But no, that's Judaism. We don't do that. You don't do what? You don't know. And that's why you're saying that. And that's what you can't do from here on out. The fact that you didn't learn that in school should not stop you from benefiting from what people throughout history have known. These symbols have power. I'm going to end with this. I talked a lot longer than I thought I was. Okay? I'm wondering if I should say this, and I think I'm not going to say this. You need to find out about these symbols, and you need to know that the symbols themselves have power. And yeah, I'm going to say this part. You see this is hanging behind me? This is a Mantrist flag, like the Tibetan prayer flags, but it has the symbols that the Mantrist movement uses, which is the Egyptian cross. It's not a coincidence that kids today want those hoodies. And this cross has a hoodie. This cross protects this part of you. The regular cross doesn't. In the regular cross with Jesus Christ, you have a crown of thorns. In other words, there's something going on here. This cross protects it. So you need to get educated on the symbols. And you need to pull yourself out of declaring everything a conspiracy. First place, there's a joke. There's no more conspiracies left because they all turned out to be true. That's actually true. But you need to learn more about these symbols because these symbols can help you. And now I'm going to say something I wasn't going to say. Those symbols, it's not just a sketch, a drawing, a piece of art. There's a concept assigned to it, attached to it. There is also a spirit attached to it. And if it's a good symbol, such as the Egyptian cross, you're getting a very powerful Egyptian figure, spirit that comes with it. This is, I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it. This is so contrary to what we've been taught to believe. Now, in my case, it's different because I was taught, I wasn't allowed a belief system. So if we go to these flags that I had made up, and it's got the vacuum cleaner mantra for when you're depressed, this purification mantra is like a vacuum cleaner, vacuums it out. It has an intention mantra or whatever. I'm not trying to sell you the flag. The point of the matter is that, I suspect I shouldn't say that story yet because I actually don't know of all the people that are going to look at this, and we don't need to scare them off initially, which is a big issue. I know that the government wanted this country to know about aliens at least 20 years ago, and they tried to give the information to the public. I watched it. I was told it was going to happen. I watched it. And this country refused to accept that. It just went over their heads. You need to make it your business to stop rejecting stuff that is not your comfort zone, because there's a collapse of a paradigm on planet Earth today. And we're in Revelations. Everything is coming out and everything is going to be different. And if you hang on too tightly to what used to work, you're not going to be able to make it nicely in what's unfolding today and what will be part of our life in the very near future. So I hope with these conversations, in which I'm very spontaneous and very unorganized, but with a very strong intention, I hope that this helps you, that the next time somebody says, oh, conspiracy, look at that symbol. Why are they doing that? I mean, all these mudras that we do are very powerful, but they're empowering for us. So when you say, why is he holding a hand like that? Why don't you look up and see what that configuration of the fingers means? And maybe you won't be feeling that that person is after you, or that you need to be careful with that person. That person may simply be more knowledgeable than you as to how your electrical system changes when you do a particular mudra, such as this, or when you do this particular mudra, which is the one that I would recommend for anybody who's overwhelmed and has too much responsibility, and or is scared. This, or if you have to study, or if you have to pay attention, but you can't keep yourself awake. What I'm saying is, stop accusing people of conspiracies. Stop accusing people of things that are only an accusation because you don't know any better. Get that education. Find out why they say that the Second World War was the first modern war that was fought with metaphysics. Why do they say that? You don't know that metaphysics is not being used against you now. Black magic is metaphysics. So get updated so that you can be powerful, even in the midst of chaos that we are falling into. My name is FRANCESFOX, and thanks for listening. And thank you for those that actually showed up for the chat and are not going to watch it later, but have actually been part of the live transmission. Thank you again. And we'll be here again 6 o'clock on Tuesday, 3 o'clock on Thursdays. And when you see me inviting guests, especially important people, you can know that the Cuban Mafia finally backed off. Wouldn't that be sweet? Bye.